Skyrim is filled with danger. Dragons circle mountain peaks, Falmer stalk the underground, vampires hide in frozen crypts. But there is one dungeon that feels different, one that does not simply house danger. It is danger. Hidden in the mountains of the Reach, far from the safety of cities and far from the comfort of main quest lines, lies Valthuma. At first glance, it appears to be just another Nordic ruin. Ancient stone, moss-covered walls, Draga waiting in silence. The kind of place you clear once and forget. But it is not just another tomb. It is a prison, and it's failing. Valthuma is the resting place of Hevnarak, a dragon priest whose name is not spoken with the same reverence or fear as some of the others. But that may be a mistake, because he is not merely powerful, he is patient. Long ago, during the height of the dragon cult, he sought immortality not through loyalty to dragons, but through forbidden alchemical experimentation. His obsession with plague, poison, and unnatural longevity made him feared even among his own kind. The ancient Nords understood something terrifying. Hevnarak was not content with death, so they sealed him away in Valthuma. But they didn't simply entomb him. They built layers of containment, and that is what makes this dungeon different. It is not a resting place, it is a warning. Most Nordic ruins are tombs of reverence, burial chambers for honoured warriors who rise as Draga to defend sacred halls. Valthuma feels wrong from the moment you enter. The architecture is heavy, oppressive. Narrow corridors wind deeper into the earth, as if the structure itself is trying to suffocate whatever lies below. This is not a monument, it is a vault, and like any vault, it has keys. Before you can reach Hevnarak, you must confront and defeat two powerful dragon priest guardians, ancient wardens placed there specifically to prevent resurrection. Their presence reveals something important. The ancient Nords feared what lay beneath more than they feared invasion. They didn't want to honour Hevnarak, they wanted to contain him. That alone elevates this dungeon above most of Skyrim's other dungeons. It was designed with paranoia. What makes Valthuma uniquely dangerous is that the Dragonborn must participate in the very act the ancient Nords sought to prevent. To face Hevnarak, you must complete a ritual. You gather the ceremonial skulls, you unlock inner chambers, you activate the final confrontation. In doing so, you become the final key. This is one of Skyrim's most subtle narrative traps. The dungeon is structured so that the player inadvertently finishes what history tried to stop. The Guardians you defeat were not protecting treasure, they were protecting the world. And once Hevnarak awakens, it becomes clear why. Unlike many dragon priests, Hevnarak specializes in poison and disease. His mask grants immunity to poison and resistance to disease, reflecting his obsession with biological corruption. He is not just a mage, he's a plague bearer. In a world where most enemies rely on brute force, Hevnarak represents something insidious, slow, inevitable decay. Valthuma's location in the Reach is no coincidence. The Reach is already one of Skyrim's most unstable regions. Forsworn rebels wage guerrilla war against Markarth. Dwemer ruins dot the cliffs. Political corruption festers within the city walls. It is a land of old grudges and buried horrors. Placing Valthuma here reinforces its danger. The Reach is symbolic of things buried but never resolved. And beneath it lies a dragon priest who embodies the same theme. Hevnarak's imprisonment mirrors the Reach itself. Ancient violence sealed away, but never truly erased. If this dungeon were to fall unchecked, the Reach would be the first to suffer. And given its fragile state, it might not survive. There are more difficult dungeons in Skyrim mechanically. There are larger ones, more complex ones. but few feel as claustrophobic and tense as Valthuma. The deeper you go, the more deliberate the structure feels. There are no grand open caverns like Blackreach, no sprawling Dwemer machinery, no dramatic waterfalls. Just stone and silence. The dungeon compresses you as you go. It forces close combat with Dragger Deathlords in narrow hallways. It denies open strategy. It corners you. By the time you reach the ritual chamber, you feel trapped, as though you have descended too far to retreat comfortably. That psychological design makes this dungeon dangerous beyond its enemies. It pressures the player. Most dragon priests persuade power through dragon worship. Hevnerak pursued something colder. His mask's properties suggest a fixation on resisting corruption and decay. He wasn't trying to conquer kingdoms, he was trying to conquer his own biology. That makes him uniquely terrifying. Poison and disease are democratic forces. They do not discriminate. They do not respect power. In a medieval world like Skyrim, plague could wipe out holds. The ancient Nords likely understood that Hevnerak's experiments were not simply heretical. They were existential threats. He was not a warlord. He was a scientist without ethics. And that makes him far more dangerous. Valthuma is deceptive in another way. It is accessible relatively early. There are no level gates, no quest prerequisites demanding high progression. An inexperienced Dragonborn can wander into this dungeon and awaken something far beyond their readiness. And because the ritual is structured as a progression puzzle rather than a clear warning, players not realise the scale of what they're unlocking until it's too late. That subtle trap makes it one of the most dangerous dungeons for unsuspecting adventurers. You think you're clearing a ruin, but you're really breaking a seal. After defeating Hevnerak, you claim his mask, a powerful artifact granting poison immunity and disease resistance. On the surface, it's just loot, but symbolically it represents inheritance. You now carry the legacy of the Plague Priest. You wear the face of a man who experimented with death itself. There's something quietly unsettling about that. Skyrim rarely forces players to confront the morality of the artifacts they collect. But Valthuma lingers. You did what the ancient Nords failed to do permanently. You woke him, and then you ended him. But you also proved that his prison was fragile. What if someone less capable had entered? Many Skyrim dungeons are dangerous because of spectacle. Labyrinthian is epic. Faralhost is tragic. Blackreach is overwhelming. Valthuma is different. Its danger lies in implication. It is a prison barely holding. It is a ritual waiting to be completed. It is a dragon priest obsessed with plague sealed beneath an already unstable hold. And most players stumble upon it accidentally. That combination, accessibility, narrative depth, atmospheric pressure, and moral implication elevates it above Skyrim's other ruins. It feels less like a dungeon and more like a mistake waiting to happen. When you leave Valthuma, the world continues as normal. Markarth still stands, the Reach still rebels, dragons still roam the skies. But something lingers. You know that beneath the mountains, ancient horrors were not simply buried, they were feared. And you know that if history forgets why a prison was built, someone will eventually open it. Valthuma is not the most famous dungeon, it is not the largest, it does not house the final boss of the game, but it embodies Skyrim's most dangerous truth. Not all ruins are meant to be explored, some are meant to remain sealed. And when curiosity overrides caution, the consequences echo far beyond stone walls. Hevnerak is gone, but the lesson remains. In a land of dragons and war, sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one that waits quietly beneath your feet.